Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tommy, and in this video, since it's very close to Christmas, I decided to use some CSS animations and create this project. So we have some CSS animations on the text here and some CSS animations with the Santa and the reindeers flying across the screen, and we have a button here. If we press it, we get a sound effect.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
So, being so close to Christmas, I thought it'd be nice to do a little project, Christmas themed. So, we're just using HTML, CSS and JavaScript in this project. So, okay, we'll get started. Okay, so I'm using VS Code as my editor to date. And so far I just have the sound effect clip in here, and I have an image in here. I'll leave a link in the description to the GitHub so you can use these. If you want to follow along and do this project, you can get the sound clip and the Santa PNG from my GitHub link. So first of all, we're going to create an index HTML. Okay, I'm going to use Emmet then to create a boilerplate template. So I just press Shift and exclamation mark and enter. Okay, so inside our body, we're going to use Font Awesome for an icon. So I'm going to just grab the link for that now. If we go to cdnjs.com and type in Font Awesome. Now if we grab this link here, go back to Visual Studio and just paste that in, put on toggle wrap view. Okay, now create our style.css. And we'll create a script.js file. Okay, so in the head of our HTML, we're going to link our style sheet. And just before our end and body tag, we're going to link our script file, our JS file. Okay. So there's not much HTML in here. The first part is an audio tag, and I'm going to give it an ID of. First, we'll set the source. The source is going to be our MP3 file. I'm going to set muted, and we'll give it an ID of audio. Okay, and then we just have a button for the sound effect. So give it a button and give it an ID of unmuted. Okay, and inside here I'm going to put a Font Awesome icon, and it's going to be class equals. Okay, so the class, the Font Awesome is going to be FAS/volume up. Okay, and we're going to have a div then. I'm going to give this a class of container. And inside this we're going to have two extra divs. We're going to have one with the class of Santa, And then we're going to have another div with a class of text. And the text in here is going to be Merry Christmas. Okay, so that's it for our HTML. Not much HTML. So we'll jump into our style.css now. So in our style.css, I'm going to use a Google font. So I'm just going to go to Google Fonts real quick. And I want to search for Christmas. This is the one I used, Mountains of Christmas. Click on that, select this style here, bold 700. Select at import. Just copy in between the two style links. Copy that. Go back to our CSS file and just paste that like that. Okay. Now, then we're just going to set the padding for and margin and box size to 0 originally. So padding 0. I'm going to set the margin to 0. And I'm going to set the box sizing to border box. Okay. And then we're going to style our container. To style our container, we're going to set a position relative, because we'll be setting an absolute position on some of the elements inside it. And to do an absolute, you need to have the parent relative, and I'm going to set the background color to black. Just open this client server and make this smaller. So we can see while we're working on it. Okay. I'm going to set a height. I'm going to set the height to 100 view height. And I'm going to set the width to 100 view width. Now we're going to set an overflow of hidden. Now we're going to display flex. We're going to set it to display flex. I'm going to justify the contents center. I'm going to align the items center. And that'll just bring our text into the center. We'll save that now. Okay, so if we just set a color on this for the minute of white, you can see that Merry Christmas comes up in the center. If I just take the display flex off for a second, see it goes up to the top corner. So change that back now. Okay, so we're just going to style that button now. So that had an ID of unmuted. Sorry, what did we call it? Just going to copy that. Actually, I'm just going to change the name. Unmute. Save that. Just going to copy the ID, go into the style, paste that there. So the unmute button, I'm going to set a height 40 pixels. I'm going to set a width of 40 pixels also. And the background color, I'm going to set that to white. Now we're going to set a position absolute, because we want to position it absolute. I'm going to give it a top. I'm going to set it from the top 10 pixels, and the left we're going to set it to come in from 10 pixels, and I'm going to give it a Z index of 10, and border radius, I'm going to set the border radius to 5 pixels, and we're going to set cursor pointer on it. So we save that. Now you see it's after jumping inside in the body. We hover over it, we get in the cursor pointer. Okay, so we'll just copy that. I'm going to set so the on mute button, and when it's on the active state we're going to have some CSS applied. We're going to set the outline to none, and we're going to set some on the focus as well. So on the focus state, hashtag set that to focus. Sorry, we're going to set the outline to none on the focus state, and on the active state we're going to transform, and we're going to scale to 0.98. Okay, you see that now when we click, the button gets slightly smaller and there's no outline. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to style the text, the Merry Christmas, in the center. So do text. So we're going to set the font family. So we'll go back to our Google Fonts. Google Fonts. Now we just want to copy this part here in under what we've copied already. Go back here, paste that in. Once we save that in, the font hasn't changed. We'll go back into our index. We have a typo, that should be text. So we save that now. Now you see the font is after changing style. Okay, so we're going to text align is going to be center, and we're going to give it a font size. Set the font size to 10 rem. Save that. It's after getting bigger now. So on the full screen, it's not mobile friendly yet, but okay. Now we're going to set a background. Now we're going to set the background to a linear gradient. And the linear gradient is going to be to the right. And it's going to be white. Was 30%, and going to be red. Oh, I have to put in. It's going to be, so from the 30% mark to the 40% mark is going to start gradually going from white to red. I'll just make that bigger for the minute. Okay, and then from 60% to 70% we want to start going back red to white. So just copy this. And we're going to say 60%. And save that now. Now you can see it's white at the start, and then from 30% to 40% is starting to go red, and then from 60 to 70% is starting to go from red back to white again. So that's what the linear gradient is doing here for us. Okay, we're going to set the background size then. I'm going to set it to 200% and give it auto on the sides. Now, so you see it's after doubling now, so we have our white at the start, and now we're going to set a background clip. I'm going to set the text, and we're going to do the same for the WebKit side. Now, and what that does is, background that we had, it's just going to set that background to the text. To see that, we need to do set the WebKit now. So I'll just go through this again now. We set a background color to our linear gradient, the white and the red. Where the text clipped in, it makes the background only stand out in the text. And why we couldn't see it originally is because it needs to be set to transparent for it to show through. So I'll just comment this out for a second and show you. See now, our background is coming through the text, and I'll just comment out these as well. So this is our background image, but the background clip text ensures that the background is only going to come through the text. So that's a cool trick to do some styling on some text. So I'll uncomment these again now. Now you can see that our background image is only coming through our text. Just make that bigger. See that now? Oh. So next part we have to do, next part we're going to style is the image that's going to be going across the screen of Santa. So we give that a class of Santa, and we'll set the background image. It's going to be equal to the URL, and the image name is Santa PNG. We're going to set a background position. Background position is center. And center. Going to have no repeat on the background. Okay. The background size we're going to set it to contain. Now we're going to give it a position of absolute as well, because we want to position it where we want it to, and we're going to bring it from the top 5 pixels, and we're going to give it a height of 400 pixels and a width of 300 pixels. No, okay, so we save that then. Okay, we have an issue. The picture is not shown. Just go into our HTML here quickly. Oh, there's a typo there. Okay, so save that now. Now we have our image. So go back into our CSS. So originally we don't want the Santa to show, so we're going to set the right. I'm going to set minus 100%, so he'll be off the screen to start with. So we save that now, and now it's missing. And we're going to use JavaScript to create the snow, but to give it some styling, we're just going to do the styling here first quickly. So in the JavaScript, we're going to create an element, and we're going to give the element a class of flake. So I'm just going to put in the flake CSS style in here. Now we're going to put a position absolute, and we're going to give it a z index of 1, because we want it to come out over the text. And we're going to set a color. I'm going to set the color to white, because we're using the font awesome icon as a snowflake, so that's considered as text. So we'll set the color to white, and we're going to set a font size of 0.75 rem. Okay, so that's that much done. We're going to add in the animation for the text color now. So open the text class, open the text CSS. We're going to add in an animation. Okay, so to do that, we just say animation, and we're going to call it change color. And we're going to have it, it's going to take 5 seconds to complete. We're going to set it to linear. And we want it to keep going, we want it to be continuous, so we put in infinite. Okay. So to add the keyframes then, for the animation, we say add keyframes, and we give it a name. We call it change color. So for the change color, we were going to just move it to background position. We're going to change the background position, and we're going to say minus 200%, and we're going to center it. So you save that now. You can see our text, our background is moving across our text. And it's taken 3 seconds to do that. Is that what we set it to? And 5 seconds to scroll across. So it's just moving the background continuously, and it looks like when you're moving the background in that the color is just going through the text. Okay, so we're going to set the animation for this the Santa image then. So we're going to give this, we're going to set up another animation in here. We're going to give that an animation of, we're going to call it just Santa. Animation Santa. We're going to set it to be 13 seconds. I'm going to set it to linear, and I'll show you what linear is now in 1 second. And we want it to be infinite as well. We want it to be going the whole time, and we're going to set it to forwards. So we save that now and give it a couple of seconds. Oh, sorry, we have to add the keyframe. So down here, to add keyframes again, and we call it Santa. And from 0%, we want to set the right property from, it's going to where it's starting out at a minus 100%. And when it gets to 100%, when it's finished we want to set the right to 100%. Save that now. Just give it a couple of seconds. And now you can see the image scrolling across the top of the screen. Okay, so just to show you what the linear is, I have in the W3 Schools website, they have a good explanation here of all the ease ins, linear, ease out. You can see the linear is a constant speed compared to the ease in, where it's slow at the start and then it'll speed up at the end, and ease out will be quick at the start and easing in at the end. So we want a constant speed, so we're using linear. And for the we're going to set up on the flake as well. We're going to set an animation on that as well. So the snow to fall, this will create the snowfall, and after our JavaScript has created it. So we're going to set an animation. We're going to call the animation for this, we're going to call it just fall. Okay, and 3 seconds for it to complete. We're going to set it to linear too, because we want the snow falling at the same pace the whole way through. And we're going to set the forward as well. I'll just show you what the forward is. So in the W3 Schools, again, this is a great website for explaining things as well. So the forward element retains the style values of the last keyframe when the animation ends. So they have an example of that here too. And if we run this, you see that the box is falling down and it changes color. And when it finishes, it stays on the bottom. If we took the forwards out and we ran it again, you can see that it falls down, but then it goes back to where the div is. So we want the snow to stay on the bottom of the screen, so we're going to use that forwards in our animation. Okay, so we're going to set up the keyframes as well for this fall. Keyframes and fall. So our keyframes for the fall is going to be, when it's starting at 0%, we want the top to be set to 0 pixels. And when it's finished then at 100%, we want the top. We're going to set the top, and we're going to use a CSS calculation. And we're going to use 100 view height. We're going to set the top to 100 view height. I'm going to take away then the height of the element itself, the snowflake, and we set that earlier 0.75 rem. So if we take the whole height of the viewport, the full height of the viewable screen, and we take away 0.75, our snowflake will be sitting exactly on the bottom of the screen. We'll save that now, and we'll jump into this JavaScript. So we're going to just set a few variables first. We're going to set const, I'll just make this bigger, so const container. I'm going to set that to document.query selector. And the query selector we want to target is going to be the container, the class container. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this down 2 times because we need to target 2 other ones as well. So, did I spell that right? Okay, the next one we're going to target is the animated. I'm going to set a variable to animate. created, and that's going to be the Santa. And we need one more, and that's going to be the unmute button. And that one is an ID, so we bring the hashtag and on mute. Okay, I'm going to create a function for the snowing. I'm going to call it snowing also. And we're just going to create an element first, and the element we're going to create is an I tag. So that's going to be used for our font awesome, and we're going to put a snowflake in there. So we're just going to say const snow. That's going to be equal to document. And we're going to create an element, and the element we're going to create is going to be an I tag. Okay. So got to put in the arrow there. So once we create the element, we want to set the class on it. We're going to set 3 parts. So we're going to say snow.classList.add, and we're going to add flake. That's the one we've just set up a few minutes ago inside in our CSS, and then we're going to set some font awesome classes as well. So we're just going to say snow.classList.add, and the first font awesome class we're going to add is FAR, and we're going to add one more then, classList.add, and this time we're going to add FA/snowflake. Okay, and once we have that element created then and the class list added to it, we want to set the style of it. We want to set a random position on the screen where we want to put the element. So to do that, we just target the style part. So we say snow.style, and we're going to target how far left on the screen is going to be. So we're going to use .mat .random. Okay, and what mat.random does is it returns a decimal from 0.1 to 0.999, and we're going to multiply that by 100 to turn it to an integer between 1 and 100. And then at the very end of it, we're just going to concatenate on percent. So that's going to set the style to, if the mat.random got 0.5, is going to be 50, and then the percent, so setting the style to 50%. And then we want to add it to our project, so we're getting the container, and we're going to append child, and we're going to append that snow element that we just after creating. Okay. Now to get this to work then, we're going to have a set interval. So we say set interval, and the first parameter takes us in is the function that you want called. So we wanted the function we're just after creating snowing, and we want to call it every 200 milliseconds. Okay, so we'll save that now. We'll go back into our project. We'll just make it bigger, and now you can see the snow is falling. And we've used the forwards in our animation for the flake, and you can see they're all perfectly on the bottom of the screen, and Santa is coming across the screen. Okay, so the last part of the project then is just going to be when we click the button up in the top left hand corner that we want to create the sound effect. So we just go back into our project, and this is straightforward enough. So the unmute button, we want to add an event listener to that, and the event listener we want to add is going to be a click event, and on the click event we want to run this function. So when the button is pressed, we simply want to set the audio want to set the audio to the audio muted. It's going to be equal to false. And then we just want to set audio dot play. Save that then. So we're just going to bring in our audio as well. So we jump back up to the top of the page. We just copy down that, and we're just going to set the audio equal to the audio. Yep. Okay, we save that then. Back to our project. You can see the snow is falling, our font color is changing, Santa is flying across the screen. And now if we press the button,
Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas!
okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. CSS animations are very cool to be working with. I like working with CSS animations. You can do a lot of nice effects on the screen. Please, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and help other people that want to learn how to make these videos, see these videos. So by subscribing to my channel and liking and comment below, it helps to push the content out there and helps other people. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video, and happy Christmas to everyone.